thinking more kind of along those lines as well. You sometimes there is those disaster moments or it's kind of things that you don't see coming or that create uncertainty within pressure. So kind of relating it not even to business or sport, but a sudden lockdown where you're suddenly working and the next day we're locked in at home, we can't go anywhere. There's pressures mounting at home for some of our community within Side Out Pro and Safety Pro and things. You've got people who can't work, who don't have the income coming in anymore. So pressures are mounting at home. So is there a kind of way you can prepare for sudden disasters without any warning?
Yeah, look, I think there are. I think one of the, what you're describing. I mean, that's really, really difficult, right? Really serious situation, isn't it? Where if you find yourself in a bind, and first thing I think is to call it how it is. Like if you're not coping, so if you're under more and more mental pressure, maybe if there's more beer cans in the rubbish than there are in the fridge these days. And if you're going to the drink as an option, if most of your conversations with your spouse are about frustration, issue and problem, or in conflict, then there's another indicator. If you're finding things that in your value set should give you joy and they're not, so the kids are irritating you rather than you're enjoying playing with them, if your exercise feels like a chore rather than something that's energizing you. So these are all indicators that you're probably the situation is overwhelming your ability to cope. So one is looking at it, and from a mental health basis, the best thing you can do is to reach out. There's other options, of course, around how you look after yourself, certainly. But I think the first thing, once we're in that zone, it's really difficult unless you've already prepared the skills to think your way out of that. So talk to a good friend. It could be your cousin, it could be your brother, it could be your uncle, it could be your good mate from netball, your best friend, whoever it is, and just let them know how you're feeling and just say, hey, I'm not quite sure what to do here, because that's okay. Like, there's no reason. Like, you're not a psychologist, and I am one, and sometimes I don't know what to do. So you reach out and let someone know that you're struggling, or it really the consequences of struggling start to hit. I think that's super important for humans, and with the nervous system that we've got. Once we reach out, then we start to downregulate, and taking that step will make you better able to cope on your own. And if you feel like it's getting a bit serious and you're actually in one of those moments where your usual networks aren't working, and we'll all go through those in times where our self-care and our social networks aren't getting across the line, but to return to good mental health. So speak to your doctor, your GP. If that's a step too far, ring up somebody from Lifeline. We can send all these details out, of course, and reach out. So I'm covering off some of the mental health basics here. But fundamentally, it's around reaching out and telling somebody. And then I think if you have a big change coming, value your mental health and your well-being. So mind's a natural environment at the end of the day. So if you feed it with a bit of regular movement for the body, we know that helps. If we feed the body really awful food and we don't give it any proper movement or stretching, it's not going to really work for us too well. The mind's really the same. It's just another natural environment. So you've got to give it space. You've got to give it time just to immerse yourself in walking, be in nature. That's a really reliable way to regulate your mind. You don't need to know or believe anything to know that that's the case, right? Connect to friends, actually invest in looking after your mind so that it becomes a more pleasant place to live in.